All right, so I want to ask you guys a tiebreaker. Put yourselves in Matt Williams' cleats, Mr. Wise. If you are Matt Williams, what position do you play Zimmerman in once Harper returns?
I think you put him back at third base, and this is why. Bryce Harper was still a key to your offense, even when he was struggling. And I don't think you want to mess with too much here. Now, yeah, aside from the line, you don't take Denard Span out for one. And aside from worrying about Ryan Zimmerman's throws from third, which is a big thing, if he can get past that a little bit, I think you've got to suck it up and play him there. And know that he can go to left field.
So you play him in left field for a month and then move him to third base
Correct.
once Harper comes back. Dan, what do you say?
You know, I think what he said, aside from the throws, I don't think you can say aside from the throws at this point, because we've seen him struggle for such a long period of time now. And obviously, from the way he talks about it, it pains him to struggle like that. And I think it got in his head a little bit. And you're bringing him back for his bat at this point. You need his bat in the lineup. I don't think that you need to mess with Ryan Zimmerman's head at this point by moving him back and forth. And if he starts having those issues again, and then you have to switch him back to the outfield, then you're kind of explicitly benching him because it's clear that he can't play the position anymore. I think that would be more embarrassing. I think more damaging to his pride. He's handled this as well as you could possibly handle it. He hasn't complained for 1 second. He hasn't made an issue about it at all. He's set to leave the position that made him famous and play left field, which is where you put uncoordinated oaths. He's just doing that, and I don't think that you
uncoordinated Major League Baseball.
Michael Morris was okay, but I don't think at this point, I don't think that you shuttle him back and forth, and I don't think that you put him at risk of embarrassing himself at third base.
That's a good argument. LeVar, break the tie.
I'm going with Mike. I think you keep him at third base, and the reason being is players are players, and what I know of baseball, when a guy can't do shortstop or third base anymore, they generally go to first base, correct? Because you have
first
no
base
more,
and left field are generally
it's basically because you have no more
Yep.
athletic ability left. So
that's where I play in softball now.
So I'm in agreement. Like, I agree with both actually, but I think third base because one, you don't want to sacrifice what chemistry that you may be building with the team. For one, for two, I do think that it comes down to you have a job to do. If you brought me here to be a linebacker, you don't move me to defensive tackle because I can't do what I did as a linebacker anymore. You generally come off of the field if you can't do that. So I think that you got to show and prove. Show that you can be on the baseball diamond or you can't. I think that's kind of what it comes down to.
I think there's also a domino effect. And in your scenario, Dan, who's the odd man out?
Span.
So I don't see a guy who's hitting .311 right now.
His last 10 games.
His last 10 games, and a guy who does get around the base path a little bit. I don't know if you take him out. I also think that down the road there's a danger. Putting Harper in center field is a danger as well. I mean, this is a guy who he needs to learn the responsibilities of what he's doing at this moment. He doesn't need the responsibility of center field at this juncture.
I mean, I think that if this is an American League team, it would be pretty obvious, though, that Zimmerman's the
DH
hitter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he is, I think.
Two other factors. One of I don't think this came up. We edited it out of the Adam interview from this morning, but Adam mentioned that Harper loves to play center field and has hit better, maybe coincidentally, but when he's played center field in the past. And Anthony Rendon is a more natural third baseman. So if you keep Zimmerman at third, you're risking the arm, but you're also putting Rendon in a second base position that he's not as comfortable at. So that's another factor in the whole process. But it's going to be fascinating to see how Williams
I think the other thing is
handles
that all of this also presumes that everyone else is healthy. And they've been so beat up all year that, I mean, odds are someone else goes
That's a
down
fair
and you're
point.
juggling something again.
Here's
Absolutely.
another thing to presume is that Zimmerman doesn't stay healthy.
Right.
So he's like the Nene of
Being
the
a negative
Nationals.
Nancy. Come on, LeVar.
Is that negative?
We're
or is that
also
reality?
assuming that Zimmerman
It's realistic with this team.
doesn't- I mean, Zimmerman's a great, classy guy. But we're also assuming that he doesn't fall on his face in left field. Obviously, that could be the decision
Fair
for
point.
Matt Williams.
Big picture.
It'll be fun. It's going to be fun to watch.
Big
It's starting
picture,
tonight.
Ryan Zimmerman, $100 million contract. Jason Worth, past $100 million contract, has never been an all-star. You got to start looking at these deals if this season doesn't work out the way people think it's going to.